Welcome to the March 23rd, 2023. Today is one of those, I read it this morning from my math professor friend, where you can read the date forwards and backwards. What do they call those?
Oh, it's like a palindrome number?
Palindrome. That's what we're in today.
Cool.
I'm Kathy Davis with Davis Creative Publishing Partners. Today we get to speak again with Mary Nunaley. We're going to be talking about interactive lead magnets to attract new readers. Before I welcome Mary, we just have a couple of logistical details to go over. The call is being recorded, and your attendance at these meetings serves as your permission to be seen in the recording. Please mute yourself if you've not already done so, and it looks like everybody's gotten that taken care of. Please find your chat button down at the bottom of your screen and type your questions into the chat box. We promise to end the call around 12:15 at the latest so that we can all get back to our business of the day. So Mary, some of you know Mary. She's been a guest on our podcast before. She is an ATD certified Master Instructional Designer, award-winning course developer. She brings a sense of playfulness and passion to everything she does and is always asking, why is this happening and how can we improve it? This comes through in the work she does with her clients and the impact they are able to make with their audiences. Welcome, Mary. I'm excited. You also are just coming off of a #1 international best-selling anthology.
Yes, which was so exciting. So Ready Connect. It's exciting. I've been giving hard copies to people and it was a fun experience. So thank you for guiding us through that process,
Yeah.
Kathy. And thank you everyone for being here. I know some of you may have heard me talk about interactive lead magnets a year or so ago, but a lot has changed. So first things first, and because this is such a small group and with Kathy's permission, we'll make this a little bit more interactive. And so I'll ask questions and, you can type in the chat or you can answer because we don't have like 50 people here. But the first question is, and you can either raise your hand or raise your digital hand, how many of you know what a lead magnet is?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a typical response. And a lot of people say, well, Mary, why are you talking about lead magnets? You build courses for a living, but I also help my clients promote their courses. And so a lead magnet is one of the ways that your audience or prospective audience gets to know you. Now, my first career was in the food business in restaurants, so I always use food analogies. And so think about a lead magnet. How many of you have ever like looked at a grocery flyer or said, "Oh, I need to go to this grocery store because Thanksgiving's coming," or pick your favorite holiday, and my favorite food is on sale for, 39 cents a pound, and everybody else is charging 59 cents a pound, and it is front and center on that flyer that you got from the grocery store or on the app. So please tell me I'm not the only one that has ever done that. It's like I'm going, that's a lead magnet. So it's capturing your attention, or in this case, the grocery store is capturing their audience's attention, and they're showing something that they know from research their audience is interested in. So as authors, when you think about your lead magnet, think about, okay, who's my audience? And what about my book or books is going to capture that audience attention? And then you want to create something that grabs their attention to get them to either come to your website, buy your book, attend a webinar that you're doing. And those different actions are what they call calls to action. And so when you think about your lead magnet, you want to have a clearly defined idea. Turkey, 39 cents a pound. Okay. Potatoes, $10 a bag. Canned gravy, $3. But I got them in the store because that 39-cent a pound turkey, very few people are going to just walk out with that turkey. They're going to stop and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm making Thanksgiving dinner. I need potatoes. I need this. I need that." And so now they have a whole lot of stuff, but that lead magnet grabbed their attention and got them there. So the call to action is buy your turkey now. It's only on sale for 24 hours. So now put it in the perspective of what you're working towards with your books. Okay, maybe I'm having a flash sale. Maybe I'm doing a speaking presentation. Maybe I'm getting ready to launch a new book and I want to get people's interest. So you got to figure out part number one of the lead magnet. What's the goal of the lead magnet? What action do I want my audience to take? And this is where a lot of folks miss out on the lead magnet, or they go, "Oh, well, I just want them to download something." And that way I get their name and their email address, and then I can send them a whole lot of email. That's great, but you have to be very clear on what is the action I want them to take, what's the benefit to them, but then also what's the benefit to you. And I am notorious for putting stuff out there and not giving people a way to get in touch with me because I'm also an introvert and I hate people bothering me. And so, I don't want people to call me. I want you to text me. I don't want you to just show up at my door. I want you to like send me a text in advance and say, I'm going to be at your door to the point where my son and I will go, "Hey, are you expecting anybody?" The doorbell rang. "No, I'm not expecting anybody." And then we'll go hide. So, I mean, we're talking about two extreme introverts. And again, in today's world, sometimes it's just more matter of safety to us. Like, I don't want some strange person showing at my door that I don't expect it. Well, with your lead magnet, there's actually a point to this story. When you're doing that lead magnet, you also want the audience to know what to expect and what to expect from you. So if you say, "Give me your name and your email address to get this chapter download," make sure you've got something in the fine print or something that says, "Oh, and legally you have to do this anyway," but that lets them know like, "Hey, by signing up for this, I'm not going to ever send you anything else again," or "I'm going to send you a weekly email," or "If you're interested, you can join my Facebook group," that type of thing. So they know exactly what to expect from you. Yay, I'm glad I'm talking somebody else's language here as an introvert. But that helps because there have been so many lead magnets that I've signed up for, and then I end up on these email lists. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting like 5 emails a week. I don't have time to keep up with my own stuff, let alone you trying to sell me something. So think about that with your lead magnet. Again, is like, what's the purpose? What's going to happen to the audience? And it doesn't have to be like a 6-page disclaimer. It can just be like one sentence going, when you download this book, you're also agreeing that I can email you, blah, blah, blah. Now, the interactive part is the part that really gets me excited because downloading a PDF and by a show of virtual hands or nods, how many of you have ever seen something and went, "Oh, that looks really cool. I'm going to go download that chapter, that ebook, that whatever." And then it just sits somewhere and you never look at it. But it looked good in the moment. Or like a lot of people do giveaways, and giveaways are great. But what happens oftentimes is like, "Oh, that's cool. Okay, I'm going to sign up for that course. I'm going to get that download. I'm going to do this." And then it just goes off to the folder of, misfit giveaway freebies, never to be looked at again. Or you're looking at it going, "What was I thinking?" So with the interactive lead magnet, what you're going to do is you're going to engage your audience in some type of activity before they get to the freebie or the giveaway or sign up for your email list. For example, we all look to be similar in age here. How many of you remember in the women's magazines, especially back in like the 80s and the 90s, where they would have like the Cosmo quizzes or the, Glamour, where they had the little black bar over somebody's face? It's like, were they dressed correctly? Were they not? Well, that's interactive. Now, we still had to get paper and pen out. We still had to write our answers down, but it with a static print article, you were still engaged. And it's like, "Oh, I scored 37 points. I guess I'm a loser." Or, "Oh, I scored 90 points. I really know my fashion." And when it came to fashion, I was always the loser because I mean, my fashion sense is like a pair of sweatpants and a t-shirt or jeans and a sweater. So, the glamour stuff. Yeah, I'm talking to my audience here. But it was interactive. It was like, "Okay, let's get you engaged." Now that we're in the digital age and so many folks are using their smartphones and stuff, there are ways that you can create engaging interactive lead magnets for little to no cost, or you could spend a lot of money. So, some ideas. You can use something like Google Forms to create a quiz that feeds into a Google Sheet that you could then share the link to on your Facebook page, on your website, and you can pretty the form up. So you can have some imagery and graphics and use your brand colors. And, let's say that your book is about, will robots take over the world? And so you could have a little 5 or 10 question quiz about, do you know what AI is? Are you afraid of AI? Have you read Asimov? Do you think robots are going to take over the world? And then you can have a little scoring rubric. And it's like, okay, if you answered da 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 da, you would be a great person for this book. If you answered da 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 da, you'd be a great person for this book. If you answered this many points, I haven't written that book yet, but if you'd like to be part of my launch team, let me know and I'll get in touch with you when I write that book. So simple, no cost, low cost. And most of us have a Google account so that we can create a Google form that feeds into a spreadsheet. Alternatively, there are paid platforms like SurveyMonkey, JotForm. There are several out there, but again, you can make those quizzes sort of little simple entryway into interactive lead magnets. My favorite tool for creating interactive lead magnets is a software called Genially, and I've talked about this before. They have a free and a paid version. And in a Genially, you can do interactive images, you can do quizzes, you can do interactive PDFs, which are kind of cool. And again, it can live on your website, it can go in a Facebook post, it could be used in a marketing campaign. Sure, I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. I never know how to spell that one.
Yeah, so it's a Spanish-based company, but their English interface is great. I'm not an affiliate. I don't make any commission off of talking about it. I just love the product because it's very easy to use. And they also give you the ability to do private links. They give you the ability to do social links and statistics so that you can actually see like how many people clicked on this, how many people used it. With the paid account, you get a little bit more information and you can also customize it with your logo. Off the top of my head, because I have a team license, so I pay for several seats, but I think an individual license is less than $150 a year. So I mean, it's in terms of software, it's a very
Mhm.
reasonable software program, but it allows you to really build something robust or make it more fun. And they provide you with hundreds literally of templates that you can then customize. So for example, let's say you want to have a escape game tied around the subject of your book. Well, it's really just a multiple choice test broken down into different sections. But again, you can customize it with the drawings and imagery from your book, your brand colors, and you can ask some questions, and then they can put in a code to unlock a special offer. Kathy, you've got your hand raised.
So the question I had that came to mind is whether, so I distribute that link to my
Mm-hmm.
Genially form, and
Mm-hmm.
I would distribute it either through social media or like through an e-news that goes out to my
Correct.
existing list. Okay.
Yeah. Or you could put it in a Facebook ad because
Mhm.
it's just a hyperlink. If you have an online course or a website, you can also download it as an actual web package so it doesn't have to live on the Genially servers and it can live on your website,
Okay.
which is
Cool.
one of the things that I find is really, really cool.
Mhm.
Um, but again, it's a multiple choice quiz or an interactive image. When I say interactive image, think of it as, let's say that you're writing a book about travel and you have a map of the United States. And all of us have seen the little, road markers on maps, on digital maps. So you could say, okay, in my book, we're going to talk about my 5 favorite places to eat in St. Louis. And so you could have a map of St. Louis with these little digital markers on the picture. And then when the person looking at it comes to your page, they can click on the marker and another window pops up with some information. Well, in chapter 5 of my book, I talk about Doug's Diner and why I love it so much and what what their best item is and blah 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 blah. And then you can have something on that lead magnet that says, if you'd like to learn more about my book about diners in St. Louis, give me your name and your email address, or here's a direct link to buy it on Amazon or wherever you're selling it. So again, it makes it interactive. I'm a big advocate of giving the users choices. Like, do you want to just purchase something? Great, here's the link. You may not know who that person is, but if your goal is sales, it doesn't really matter who that person is. So for people like me, it's like, I don't want to get on your email list. I've got too much digital clutter. I just want to go buy your thing because it looked really interesting. Here's the link. For other people, it's like, I'm not sure if I want to buy that book. It's $150. It's a little bit out of my budget. Oh, but you do a monthly or quarterly newsletter. Yeah, I'll sign up for that. And so you give them choices. And that way you can also, again, look at your statistics and go, oh, more people are clicking on the link. That means my book sales should be increasing, or more people are signing up in my email list. That's cool too. That just gives me more opportunities to talk about my book on a regular basis. But you want to think about, the audience and what their needs are. And a lot of people forget about that. They focus more on I just need sales, I just need sales, I just need sales. And I think building more of that relationship and giving choices is better. If you have a third option, let's say you're speaking in a summit or you're on a speaker's tour, something like that, that could also be a third option going, oh, hey, or if you've got a video on a on a YouTube somewhere, you can say, hey, if you just want to listen to this interview that I had with Kathy, here's the link to go watch the video. And so again, we're giving
Mhm.
them some choices, but all of them are interactive. And then you get weirdos like me who are like, I'm going to do all three. It's like, oh, I want to see what the book. Oh, okay, I can buy that. Oh, let me go look at the talk. Okay, again. Oh, you know what? Okay, this person seems pretty cool. I'm going to go sign up for their newsletter.
I know one of the things that we had an author do one time. So as we were designing the cover, she had it narrowed down to two that she really liked. And it was just kind of like, don't know. So she did a Facebook poll and put it out there. Now, I don't advise that if there's one on there that you don't really like, because that can backfire on you. You want to make sure that, only post the two or three at the most that you really like. And Michaela's just asked a question around that number three also.
Yeah, so off the top of my head, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but it is generally true that people go for that middle choice. Even back in the days when I was in the restaurant business, we would sandwich the thing that we wanted people to buy between like a higher ticket and a lower ticket item, because it gives you that sense of, so if your goal is really more sales, then I would put that second choice as the link to the book sales site. If your goal is to build up your email list, I would put that as the middle choice. Pam has a question.
So, Mary, this is all part of like a marketing strategy. So this is part of an overall plan that we
Mm-hmm.
might have.
Right.
So don't just like start throwing stuff out, like have an idea about what the entire plan might be.
Ideally, you want to have a plan and a strategy, because I'm a throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks kind of person. If I've never done something like this before, I might not have a strategy, but I may use this as a beta test just for myself to see what my audience likes. So similar to what Kathy was saying of, get your audience to vote on the book cover. You may say, I've never done any kind of an interactive thing. And if you've got a Facebook group or a writers group that you're in or something like that, you can go, I'm really thinking about doing something like this. What appeals to you? Do you like having three choices at the end? Is 12 questions too many? So, and that way you get your audience involved as well to give some feedback. And that can also help you kind of narrow things down. But ideally, this should be part of a coherent marketing strategy instead of like, oh, I'm just going to do a lead magnet. Why didn't I get sales? You want to have 3 or 4 different kinds of lead magnets. You want to have a long-term strategy. You want to have a way for people to learn more about you and that sort of thing. Other questions? I know we're almost at 12 o'clock already. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
When I mentioned the Facebook thing, that's been a couple years, probably pre-pandemic. And so I know technology has changed a lot since
Mhm.
then. The concept, what is, so that's like the early, Facebook would be the early days. And then what is the most complicated, although it's not that long ago, what is kind of the most complicated lead magnet that you've seen? That's the question I was trying to get to.
Oh, that's a really good question.
Or that you've
I
helped someone put together.
I think the most complicated one was we were building an interactive lead magnet for somebody that was going to lead to a webinar that would lead to a class. And she was trying to get all this minutia into the lead magnet and really didn't want to listen to the fact that the lead magnet, again, should be like that sales flyer, short, sweet, grab your attention instead of here's everything but and the kitchen sink. Because first of all, then why would I want to pay money to attend your webinar? or your workshop. And then second of all, there are limits to the technology. Like you could do it, but most people are looking at Facebook, social media ads on their smartphones. They're not looking at it like I design on a computer with, a humongous monitor because I do a lot of video editing and things like that. But I have to make sure that it looks good on a smartphone. So if I have something that's got, 37 word questions in this little interactive space, people are just going to go, forget it. I can't read it. I don't want to mess with it. You lose the flow. So, something that is short, sweet, tailored, because the goal is to think of it almost like a game. You want it to be something that's going to grab their attention, get them engaged, and want them wanting more. Like, I want to come back and play. That's why games like Monopoly and Jenga and stuff are so popular, because even though they might be difficult, you keep coming back for more. It's like, oh, I really want to beat this person this time, or I really want to not knock the tower down. Same thing with your lead magnet. You want people to want more, sort of like an old theater thing. Always leave them wanting more instead of like, oh, why did I sit for 3 hours in that show? So same thing with your lead magnet. So I would say short, sweet, not more than about 12 or 15 questions. If you do something like that, have a strategy, maybe use that escape room style to build something where it's like, oh, I'm playing a game. I didn't realize that I'm actually doing a lead magnet.
And so that's, excuse me, that's typically the first step in a marketing plan, a marketing funnel, so to speak.
Right.
Because I was thinking, oh, well, I just signed up for something this morning. And I was sitting here kind of thinking, okay, how did I learn about that? And it started with an email that I got for a one-time hour and a half workshop on marketing. It was free. I signed up for that. It was free. A week or so later, that's been maybe 7 to 10 days ago
Right.
So then today I got another email saying, oh, now we have a 3-day where it's an hour and a half per day. And oh, yes, it's still free. And so then they're checking. I thought, okay, they're checking to see if I'm really interested. But I went out to see, is it free or are they charging me now? And that was more from a perspective of how are they running this funnel?
Right.
And yeah.
And with a book, if you're only selling the book, you're not using the book as a feed into a course or a high ticket coaching or something. Most people, I mean, I think about the authors that I follow. I might get an occasional once a month email or something from them, but I don't want to be on this big funnel where it's like every week they're sending me all of this stuff because I just like this book series, or
that's when I hit delete and
exactly
unsubscribe real quick. Yeah.
Right. So, with your lead magnet, you want them to get to know who you are. You want them to know about your book or books, and you want it to be fun. And so this is where we employ some of our gamification strategy too. It's like there are different game techniques that you can add to a lead magnet like that. Yours, one of them would have been this timer, this sense of like, oh, time is running off. This is only available for 3 days if I don't sign up. And that's that scarcity principle that gets people to take action. Or do you want them to have a feel good feeling, like when you play Shoots and Ladders? It's like, oh, this is kind of fun. I'm just like going around Candyland or Shoots and Ladders, and I'm just having a good time playing with my 2-year-old or my grandchild or whatever. So think about that feeling that you want to evoke.
And I've noticed it a lot on Facebook, and I don't know what they're called, but where people will say, what's your zodiac sign, or click here or something, or I'm trying to think of a recent one. Click here to get your future read or something like that. And
Right.
I see other people posting where they've gone through this, and I'm always leery to go out there and try that because I'm thinking they're going to get me for something, and I'm not sure what it is. So how do you kind of balance between those that you don't trust and those that you do want? You want them to trust yours.
And that is a great question. And so some of those websites, they do get information from you, and that's one of the things to be aware of, because some of those websites are clickbait, and they're actually getting information that, like, oh, what's your favorite color? Oh, do you have children? A lot of people use that information in their passwords. And so it makes it easier for people bad players, go in and hack. So that's why, like, if you're going to do something like that, use a completely dummy email address or something. what you want to go for with these interactive lead magnets, again, is if you have it on your website, or, if it's like you put the link to the interactive lead magnet on your website, for example, and then in your Facebook post, it's like, oh, go to this page on my website. Well, now already you've got a little bit more credibility because that is your business website. That is your author website.
Mhm.
Or if you want to send it out as a Facebook message or something, again, it's branded for you. It looks, it is you. You've told people that this is coming. And so they know that you're not a bad actor.
So on these lead magnets, is it better to keep whatever they're getting at a no cost kind, because this is more of an introductory level?
I would say, no cost, low cost. Again, if you want to do something that's more, playful quiz kind of thing, giving them those options of like, hey, great, now that you've completed this, here's a link to buy my book. Here's where you can get on my
Mhm.
email list. Here's a link to my website. And then let them choose what they prefer.
Yeah.
The other option is with some of the interactive tools that are out there, you can have like the escape game model that I used. You could say, okay, when you solve these 4 puzzles and each puzzle has 3 questions, you'll get a code. Write those numbers down or remember them. Enter that in this special lock screen. And maybe if you have control, let's say, over pricing on your book, you could say, oh, you unlock the code and, I'll send you an autograph copy at no extra cost, or
Mhm.
it's for 10% off, or something like that. So you decide what that is. But that's another way where it's just like, or, you don't have to use it. It's like when you go to a website and they're like, hey, sign up for text messaging. We'll give you 15% off your first order. I'm
Mhm.
like, no, because then you're going to send me a bazillion text messages. I'll just spend that extra 15%, because I don't want to get my text being spam. So there are
Mhm.
creative ways that you can do that.
Well, I know for our nonfiction authors, we typically highly encourage them to use their book as a marketing tool, as a lead magnet, as a way to get people. So in itself, the book could be a lead magnet
Hmm.
to move them into your sales funnel of whether it's that 1.5 hour free webinar, or that, whatever
Right.
that next thing is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just thinking like with nonfiction off the top of my head, you could build kind of like a mini interactive web quest around topics that are in the book.
Mm-hmm.
That would be kind of fun to get people interested. Just like I was saying with the map, like if you're writing a nonfiction travel book about, think about Guy Fieri with diners, drive-ins,
Right.
and dives. Well, you could have this little interactive map, and on each step you give a little tidbit from the book, and then you include a link to buy the book, or something like that. But it's fun and it's interactive. Like, oh, what do they have in Podunk, Idaho? Oh, cool! I didn't know that this was there.
Exactly. So I don't know everybody on the call today, so I do know probably 50%, but I wanted to see if are there any authors on here who are not nonfiction and have novels, or so it kind of looks like of those that I can see that um most of this audience is a nonfiction audience.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so that could really be fun in terms of quizzing and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, because you could make that interactive lead magnet little snippets from your nonfiction book to see how,
Mm-hmm.
that way people can also go, oh, I didn't know that.
Did you
Oh, I
really
didn't
read
know that. Right.
it?
Or if you're using it before they buy the book,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I didn't know that. I mean,
It's like the key takeaways
yes,
from
and
the
then you
book.
make it into
Yeah.
a little quiz, and I'm a big fan of serial killers, don't judge. Not personally, but just like learning about them, because I
Okay,
like to
good. You
understand
don't
like how
date
they're.
them, right?
No,
Yeah.
I don't date them, and
Okay.
there's none in my family that I'm aware of, but just like the psychology behind it, like what were they thinking? What were they
Yeah.
doing? And I'm a big fan of H. Holmes, who, was one of the first serial killers in the United States, allegedly. Um, and so, that's another way to find out like who the true fans are of your subject too, because you can drop some questions in there that are trivia questions that only a true fan of the subject that you're writing about might know about, like the question of, is it true about, the middle? And so again, as you're
Yeah.
building that interactive lead magnet, it also kind of helps you pre-sort who your audience
Mm-hmm.
is, because if they're just like, nah, 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 it's like, ah, they're probably not interested in my book anyway. Like why are they doing this?
Yeah. So I understand, I know when you've been on before, you typically will offer something free for the attendees. So drum roll here. What is your lead magnet today, Mary?
So my lead magnet today is you guys can rock, paper, scissors, or however, or
Yeah,
Kathy can like spin the magic wheel.
yeah.
We will do one interactive lead magnet for free, but for whoever doesn't get the free interactive lead magnet, we will build one for you for $50 because normally it costs a couple hundred to have one built, but that way you can get a sense of what it's like. And see what the process is and see what there are some things to think about. And so, Kathy, what I will do is send you a link from my calendar so they can book a 15-minute sort of discovery call. And
And
if you
we'll
want,
add that in the follow-up. Or what you could do is you could put your link in there in the chat, and whoever responds first gets your free one. And
oh no, I have a better idea.
oh,
Just
good.
just give me a minute.
I'm gonna say you're the brains here. Yeah.
All right. And I will ask you for permission to
Mhm.
share my screen just for this so that everybody knows that
Yes,
I'm being legit.
I made you co-host. You go for it.
Give me one more moment. I
You
apologize if
probably have one of those wheels.
That's exactly what I'm doing
Yeah.
right now.
If Julie was here with us, she's got one too. I have no clue where to go to find it. So,
Oh, just type in free spinner wheel.
well, imagine that. Yeah.
I'm just getting rid of all of the fake people that are currently on it.
Okay.
So yeah, if you type in free spinner wheel, it'll bring you to a plethora of websites that allow you to do that. The other thing that is totally unrelated, but it's becoming popular that you want to think about is how are you going to use generative AI in your lead magnets and the things that you're doing?
Yeah. We may have to have you back on that one. Because yeah, that has
Happy
come up a
to.
lot.
We are
We have a content person coming in on April 23rd to talk about the content side of all that. And then we'll have you back to talk about the technology side.
Yeah. Can everybody see my wheel?
Wow,
And do I
look at
have
that.
everybody? Pam, Natalie, Dr. Michaela, Shaquana, Lisa, and Kathy. Is that it?
That's it. If I win, we'll spin again. Not because I don't want to work with you. I actually have another question for you offline that I thought, oh, I bet you know the answer. Lisa, have fun.
So that way it's not like, put the name in the chat who got the name first or whatever.
That's
So,
right.
Yay.
so Lisa, if you just want to message me, I will be happy to set up some time to chat with you. I'll send you a private message and
Okay.
for everybody else, Kathy, I'll send you more details so that you can include it.
Terrific. And we'll include your contact information in our follow-up email. But thank you again. You're just a wealth of information. I love having you come visit with us.
Oh, I
And
enjoy it.
terrific. And as I mentioned earlier, April 13th, sorry. Whoa, jumping ahead. April 13th, Nigel Lear is coming back and he'll be talking to us about this whole AI thing, artificial intelligence, and we're going to be focusing on the content side. And I've been doing a little bit of research myself, so I'll jump in and what I've learned, but it's same time, same place, 11:30 on Thursday, April 13th. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. And Mary, thank you so much again. And
It's my pleasure.
Terrific. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Kathy, do you need me to stay for a minute or?
I think we're good. And let me stop the recording.